Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host on Global TV Talk Show, a service of globalbusinessnews.net. We invite you to go check it out. There's new stuff every day on globalbusinessnews.net. We are very, very happy today to welcome SARAH TABET from Dubai and also Diane Ayers from Cleveland, Ohio. Hello, Diane. Hello, SARAH.
Hi, Ed.
Hi. So,
Hi, Diane.
Yeah, Diane.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, Diane is an old
Nice.
friend and a business partner, if you will, in terms of marketing and support of this program. SARAH TABET is Global Human Resources with Schneider Electric, based in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai. SARAH has also just published her first book. Why don't you hold up the
I saw
cover,
that.
SARAH?
So that's it. I hope you can see it.
Yeah, isn't that cute? That is really good. And so I like your artwork there, with bringing it together, almost making it happen, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
inclusion starts with you instead of an I, and there's a message obviously behind it. So everyone can make the world more inclusive, and we'll talk about it later on, I guess, in more details.
Yeah, okay. So Diane Ayers is the president of her own company. Diane, why don't you introduce yourself properly?
Thanks, Ed. I founded Porch Light Rental and Destination Services 17 years ago with a couple of other partners, and we provide rental finding, assistance, and settling in services throughout the United States and Canada. So we very much specialize in working with people who are relocating or on a long-term assignment, perhaps, and we help them find their rental home, apartment, condo, whatever it is they need. And then we help them also establish bank accounts, social security numbers, whatever they need to assimilate and acclimate to their new location.
Yeah. SARAH, how long have you been involved with Schneider Electric?
So I've been with Schneider for 4 years. But before that, I worked also with another multinational. It's called British American Tobacco for 10 years.
Yep.
And in both companies, actually, we worked with companies like Diane's. So I personally had a lot of experience with global mobility. So, they're partners for HR. So we move people across the globe, transporting, supporting them with the moves and all. So we've had a lot of experience with mobility teams.
Well, I'm glad to know that. So our audience is worldwide, and although it's about 70% Canada and US,
Right.
and about 20% Europe, and about 10% in Asia Pacific. And in Middle East and Africa, it's really small. And this is why I'm really honored to have you on our program, because we want to penetrate the growing economic power of a diverse and more inclusive worldwide global business scene. And so I'm really happy to have you. So tell us about your book. What drove you to write a book? Because it's a lot of work and takes a lot of time.
It does, actually. So it's been a while. I've been really passionate about the topic of diversity and inclusion. So it was, I would say, a coincidence at the beginning to get involved in this space. But being in HR, it was really part of my scope to start looking into things to make the workplace more diverse and inclusive. So this is how, in parallel to my HR operation job that I've had over the past 13 years, I started to become more and more involved in the diversity and inclusion in the workplace. However, what made it more of a passion to me is that because being a woman and from the Middle East, as you've said, I've either witnessed or faced personally some stereotypes, some biases, or been judged, for my own personal life choices. obviously would shape me in a way or another. So being in that D&I space, I realized how much this topic touches everyone, because diversity is really not only related to corporate, but it's about being different. And each and every one of us is different, not only related, it's not differences, or diversity is not only what you see, like like shape, or like gender, or like race, or even generation or age diversities, but there's really a hidden trait, I would say, like mentality, mindset, communication style. So all of these things are all about diversity. And for me, I've realized that actually, by me being different, many people can relate to it. And if there is a way for me to transfer the message of making the world a more inclusive workplace, where everybody feels valued, everybody feels not judged or biased, why not? And that message to the world was through my book. Now, of course, as you said, it's a lot of work, but in this book, I kind of put 13 years of HR experience. So there's a lot of things that I've learned throughout my HR experience, and 4 years of D&I involvement, and personal stories that I try to transmit to the audience. COVID helped, I would say. That's the only thing positive about COVID. Because of the lockdown, I had more time, to focus and try to write the content. And of course, with the help of the publisher, we were able to complete the whole book in like 6-7 months. So
Wow.
that was really something that helped, and I'm really proud of.
So, Diane, would you like to comment on, pardon me, on D&I and how you see it impacting women in business? Of course, you have
Of
great
course,
experience.
as I'm listening to her, Porchlight is a woman-owned business. And as I mentioned, we've been in business 17 years, and we didn't become certified as a woman-owned business here until about 4 years ago. And I didn't realize really the impact that could have, and the opportunity that companies want to be associating with diverse businesses, minority businesses, women-owned businesses. But I also came to learn through my exposure to the women-owned businesses and the seminars that they hold, and the businesses that they bring to the table to help have interface. Businesses that have that initiative want to sit down with businesses like mine and be able to have opportunities together. And it was so rewarding, really, to and I don't know. I mean, when you're building a business for all these years, it's a lot of knocking on doors and a lot of people wanting to avoid you as a quote unquote salesperson. And it's so different to attend, the diversity and inclusion type events where people are literally sitting there at the table, inviting you in and welcoming you in. It is so special. It's so different. So I've had the opportunity to, really firsthand have some exposure to that, but also just how small business, diverse business, women-owned business help each other. The other thing that I thought was interesting that came from my education in this area was learning that this being women-owned, people immediately judge that as small. I don't know if you came upon that in your research, and that is just a preconceived judgment that women-owned means small, means inferior, and I never felt that way, and yet listening to some of this talk, it was just interesting to see how that could be true.
Absolutely. Definitely. This is something, actually, what you're saying is absolutely right. And this is why big organizations like Schneider have pushed through their procurement processes and audit purposes is to involve and make sure that they involve in their selection processes organizations owned by women who never had the chance to be part of, any of the selection process for suppliers, or so organizations want to give a chance for women entrepreneurs who never had a chance before. And definitely this is based on research of them being excluded earlier. So
So
on your point,
how is this developing in UAE? I assume it's very progressive.
Now, of course, the UAE itself is a little bit special in the Middle East, because in the UAE there's a lot of focus from the government on all levels, public sectors, private sectors, to really make the country, especially that it's a melting pot for expatriates. So a lot of so it's really focused on like 70% on expatriates. So there's a lot of transformation happening across all sectors to make sure that they're giving equal opportunities for women on all levels, and making policies, simple policies like maternity leaves, paternity leaves, really valid and equivalent to what we see in the West. But I would say that again, Dubai and specifically, or the UAE, is a bit revolutionary versus the other countries across Middle East and Africa.
Yeah, Diane.
So as just an example, and this is something I've mentioned in my book, and this is the kind of drive that gives me everyday motivation to keep on, speaking louder around the NI. There are some countries where women cannot even register a business without a male member signing. So these are the kind of messages that you still see, or examples that you still see across the world, where inequality really still stands.
Diane, comment? Would you like to comment, Diane?
I don't know that I have much more to add to that. I really, I just feel enlightened by what I've come to gain over these 4 years of being in these different settings relative to the diversity and inclusion. And, I feel fortunate that I've really never felt like I was different or in a challenged situation as a woman, but as things were brought to my attention and I became more aware of the dialogue around it, I think I could step back and see how things were more challenging. I just didn't see it that way. But now that my eyes are open, I can see where there were opportunities that, as a woman, were just less for me. I don't know how to better say that. It's just an awareness I have now, and just a different way I look at things, but it's a good thing. It's been helpful.
And Diane, just to, one of the major messages I try to transmit through my book or through my, speaking opportunities is to say that diversity and inclusion is not only about women. And this is something that is a perception that many people have, and many men have. I see a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues that say, "Oh, again, diversity and inclusion. It's a topic that is ongoing." Because I do agree, it became a soundbite in the corporate world, and also on the social level, we see that this topic is really, on the news. We see it in governments, we see it, across all sectors. But actually, DNI is not only about women. Yeah, it's about a lot of things. So many people, many single men feel, they feel judged, or in the workspace, they feel that they have to work more because they don't have families. So people expect them to be more free, to have not to have any hobbies because they're single and they're not married with no kids. So this is something, it's really about being different and making sure that people are aware of stereotyping, they are aware of any kind of biases that are there, and make sure that we start become inclusive in everything, in the way that we talk, the way we think. And it's a really long journey, but we have to start somewhere. So yes, women is a big part, gender equality is a big part, but there's a lot of topics that are sometimes they're not under considered, I would say, that are as equally important as women empowerment.
So, Sarah,
Right.
I know that Schneider Electric is a progressive company. I'm familiar
Yes,
with some people here in the U.S. from that company, and
absolutely.
I assume they're really supportive of what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Schneider taught me, I would say, about DNI as a beginning, because again, this is a new topic relatively in the corporate world. So maybe 5-6 years ago, this topic has started popping up on every board, on every priority list or people agenda, I would say. So I learned a lot from Schneider, and I've been part of this global team. So we have a global team, we have a global board. Um, that is truly supportive in terms of resources, in terms of investment, in terms of making the workplace more inclusive on all levels. So Schneider does believe in the importance of diversity and inclusion. It's really part of the DNA. In Schneider, we've rolled out a lot of policies to make the workplace, in terms of flexibility at work, in terms of supporting families. So there has been a lot of work done, which I'm proud of, and proud of being part of that global team. And what I do with Schneider is actually support those activities from a Middle East and Africa perspective. So I work with ambassadors who are also as passionate about the topic, who are sitting in every country across Middle East Africa, and we kind of work together on doing any activity that is related to the NI. So International Women's Day, International Days for Persons with Disability. There's a lot of activities, and making sure that our policies and procedures are really inclusive and account for people's differences and needs.
So, do you have programs that reach out to high school kids, college kids?
We do have, it depends on each country. So some of them are, we're more, I would say, like in India, we do have a lot of activity, especially because, in India, we have an innovation hub where we want to build a team of, I would say, young talent, digital mindsets, and we know that India has great universities, especially in Bangalore. So we do a lot of programs there. In the US, also we work with in Boston with some of the universities. So it depends really across the world where we could tap into those talents. And Schneider having a hub also in Grenoble in France, a big hub. We also tap into that young talent there to make sure that we build our talent pipeline and have a new generation, new blood with new competencies and digital mindset, basically, in that organization.
So within Schneider, the role of mobile talent is a big deal.
Absolutely, yes. We're a global organization. We have 160,000 people across the world, and we people move to share knowledge and to learn. Now, of course, with COVID, similar to many organizations in 2020, we've had some challenges in moving people or even hiring freezes, similar to many organizations. And most of our employees have been working remotely. So until we see how 2021 is going to end up, hopefully we move back to normal mobility and transfer of knowledge and upskilling of people.
And now a word from our co-sponsors. Our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
CubeMonk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, Get full insurance coverage and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
Okay, so now I want to do a deep dive on you, Sarah. And so you got this achievement award, leadership
Yes.
award from INSEAD,
Yes.
which is major. Congratulations. So
Thank you.
tell us a couple of outstanding things during your program at INSEAD, and how it's helped you get to where you are today.
Yeah. So INSEAD actually was a great experience. The certification was again a result of a program that I've done in France and on site in INSEAD. The objective was to really meet amazing leaders from Schneider, coming from across the globe, like China, India, US. So it was a really amazing experience, not only technically from what I've learned, but also on the networking side, on the cultural side. So it was really very, I would say, an interesting experience. And from the technical, the focus was mostly on digital. And as you know, like now the focus is on digital. How it's really putting people together in one room and thinking how we can make our processes more digital, how we can be more productive and efficient in our approach in everything we do. So it was really a super interesting, I would say, program. It's really about transforming leadership into and how we become digital and tech savvy. So many of the preparation was done virtually, of course, like over a period of 6 months. We've had virtual calls with the teams across the world, with a coach who was giving us some sessions. And then it was a 2-week on-site where we actually put all of this into perspective, and it was really the time to meet face to face and get things going. So that was one, but the other one, maybe I should also mention here, is an award related to DNI that I've received in January 2020, and that was specific for all the actions done on the DNI front, but that was, of course, not an INSEAD, but it was from MICE Quotient, which is very well known in the scope of leadership and many other HR-related topics, I would say.
How fascinating. So Diane, what's going on in your business these days? Is it picking up?
A little bit. October, November picked up a bit. So we're starting to see a little bit of a turn from an economic perspective. I think that's a good sign that people are hiring, starting to move again. And December is traditionally slower, just going into the holiday, but we're seeing it remain steady like November. All I can tell you is 2021 is likely to have a 30% uptick just based on what we're learning in the corporate world and the different webinars and seminars and so forth that we're involved in. I really feel like 2021 is going to be kind of a recovery situation. In 2022, I believe will be more of a return to hiring again, moving again. We just need the vaccine to be available. And companies, I think, have taken a 2021 approach to being able to work remotely still. So I feel like we'll see some uptick, Ed, but I don't have a lot of promise until 2022 that we're going to see a great enough increase to make a difference. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I fully agree with you. Diane. I know that. I mean, Schneider has been vocal about what we want to do in 2021 onwards, and the decision is to do a hybrid approach. So a few days in the office, the other days People can work from anywhere in the world. But I do know that many other, mostly tech companies or startups, have decided to go fully virtual, and that will limit people, moving, unless it's really for critical expertise transfer or things like that. So I do know it has been tough in 2020, and it might not pick up before, as you said, the vaccine and people feel more comfortable to travel and move their families and be really working on site.
Exactly.
So let's talk about.
So we've seen a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, with a lot of the, shutdown of borders and just not a lot of the cross-border travels and so forth. I mean, that is clearly impacting a lot of what we do. But we're heavy domestic as well. So we've always served, within the borders of the United States, and we're seeing that kind of happening again. So it's not a return to normal, but you can tell there is movement. Companies are picking up and making some decisions because they still need that talent where they need that talent. So we're happy to see that, but I do believe 2022 is the year we're all holding on to. We have one more year.
Fingers crossed.
Sarah, let's go back to you and inclusiveness from the corporate point of view. Okay.
Yeah.
And so give us one or two tips that, from your current grip on things and what you're feeling and seeing in your city there, Dubai, about how can people in the corporate world be more inclusive? What are the couple of bright ideas that you could just talk about for a couple of minutes here?
Absolutely. So I can give you a perspective not only on the UAE, but having my role being a global role and having some exposure across other countries. I've seen something super important, that yes, D&I has been, as I said, one of the big topics. It's one of the biggest sound bites in the corporate world, but many of that is unfortunately a tick in the box. So yes, organizations or leaders come out and say, I'm inclusive. We are an inclusive company. So come work for us. Or leaders, I'm inclusive. Yes, I tick the boxes on diversity. I hire 50% females in my team. So there's a lot of that going on, which is good in a way, but in parallel, sometimes we do it just for the advertising, and we've realized that many companies have been doing it for the advertising, and once people realize that, they leave. So one of the most important things is make sure that we are intentional and serious about not only diversity but inclusion, because some people actually talk a lot about diversity, and they show their numbers with increasing diversity. We're hiring more women. We're hiring different, nationalities on our board. But at the same time, when you talk about inclusion and how safe different people feel and how safe they could reveal the true reality of who they are, this is where question marks come up. So we need to be, as leaders, be intentional and serious about both diversity and inclusion. And specifically that we have to realize that as humans, it's a human thing. We tend to look for people who are like us. We like similar things. So by default, when you want to hire, we hire people that come from the same university or same nationality, or who have something in common with us because we could relate. So it's a human thing. And by acknowledging that reality is we tend to go directly to something that looks similar to us, it means that we're not doing enough on diversity and inclusion. So that's one. Acknowledging that we need to be serious and intentional is one thing. Then providing psychological safety. And this is where I tap into the inclusion part. So making sure that as leaders, we ask questions about people who are different. We're curious about them. We give them the opportunity to talk about what they like, to talk openly without feeling that they will be humiliated or they will be punished with their, different ideas that they have, or different mindsets or culture or experiences that they would like to share on the table. So it's important to do that. And today within the HR world, I would say, previously we used to assess leaders. There's a lot of assessment tools. And now inclusive leadership has been included as one of the inclusive behaviors that are expected from leaders. So there are some tests, free online tests that people can do to test or self-assess how inclusive they are and what they should do to improve as leaders. So from the corporate level, there's a lot of things that leaders could do, but awareness is the first one. We have to be aware that it's important, not only to tick the box, but it has a real impact on creativity, innovation in the team, coming up with ideas that would help grow the business and sustain it.
So I want to ask you to go back to the word inclusiveness. So is this the same as belonging? Like you belong to the organization, you belong there, not just, as you said, a check on the box.
Absolutely. So you bring in, I've described it in my book as one, it's a nice description that I like to reiterate on. So think about D&I is like a salad, so diversity is when you bring, when you bring lettuce, you bring beets, you bring, even fruits, you could put quinoa, just you bring those different vegetables and put them in one bowl, but it will only taste good if you just put that dressing, regardless of what the dressing is. When you put that dressing and you mix it, this is where it becomes a tasty salad. And this is how I kind of reflect on diversity and inclusion. So yes, it's important that you bring in diverse people with diverse backgrounds or whatever the diversity is categorized as. But this will not work if you don't have real incentive and intention to make people feel they belong. They feel that they can show their true identity. They feel respected and valued for their differences, and people actually ask them to bring out those differences and put them on the table, because those differences are going to create new ideas and bring growth to the business.
Sarah, when you were writing your book, the very first day, I'm sure you've thought of this, maybe not today, but how long was it when you said, I gotta write that first sentence, I gotta write that first page? How long did that take, not only to do it, because I'm sure there was more than one version, but how long did it take from the day you said, oh, I have a blank piece of paper here and I'm going to start typing, or did you talk into a voice recorder instead of typing?
So voice recorder came next, but yes, the first draft was actually writing. And I do remember that day when I said, okay, you know what? It was January after New Year's. I was in my home country, Lebanon, and I came back to Dubai, and I said, okay, you know what? I have to start writing that first chapter. And believe it or not, I had a kind of a draft about what I want to write throughout the book. What kind of chapters are gonna, what are the topics I'm gonna write. But that first sentence took me approximately maybe a week to say, okay, you know what? I start somewhere and then I fix it. And I started after 1 week of thinking about what I'm gonna write. And then it just moved on very smoothly. Now, I do remember that after writing the fourth chapter, I finished the fourth chapter and I said to my partner, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to write next. I literally don't know how I still had it's a 12 chapter book. So I still had 6 or 8 chapters to write, and I had no idea how to continue. So then I said, you know what, I'm gonna sleep on it. The next day I woke up and I had an idea, and that's a lot of that happened throughout those 12 chapters. So I write something, I finish that chapter, I'm happy with the content, but I have no idea how to continue. And finally, after 3-4 months, I found myself actually with a 12 chapter content, and I'm super happy with the material there.
Okay, so what's your next book about?
Oof, many people ask me this, and honestly, I just want to enjoy this one because I was, it was really hard work. And I realized that as humans, sometimes we don't enjoy, it's like a tick in the box again. It's like there's always a to-do list. I finished that, so what am I gonna do next, without even enjoying what we've achieved. So I'm trying my best to just enjoy this one and have, get people's feedback, which is quite also like I'm anxious about that because I've put myself out there. So it's not a technical book, it's not, I'm not a psychologist or a researcher. So many of this is from my personal experience and from my own perspective. So I realized that maybe, and I kind of tell all myself that not everybody have to like it. Some people will like it, some people will relate to it, but many people might not like it. So I'm being kind of trying to be objective around this topic. So let's see, waiting to hear some of the feedback I've got. Again, the book has only been launched like few days back when it has become available for people to buy it on Amazon or Book Depository or Barnes and Noble. So it has only been few days, but I've had the opportunity at least to give few books to my family and people around me who have helped me, especially make this happen.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so you
I'm curious.
yeah, go ahead. Yes, Diane.
I was just going to ask her, I don't know if the book mentions this or not, but how do you prevent the hiring scenario you described earlier about it's kind of commonplace to hire people like yourself, people you're comfortable with, look like you, what have you? How do you overcome that at your organization? Do you involve other people in the hiring process?
Yeah, we do a lot of trainings around this. We do a lot of trainings for managers to be aware of how the selection process is happening. That's one. And second, it's not as HR, we do play a very important role in that, because I don't consider myself as a policewoman, or a police officer to validate every hiring that's happening, but we do have other people involved in the hiring process, and managers do have KPIs. Unfortunately, we still talk about KPIs, but this is the only way you can drive change at the initial stages. So every leader has some KPIs to make sure that diversity is there, be it in gender, be it in nationality. It's really around every topic. So leaders want to make this change. We're giving them incentive too, hoping that at one day it's just going to become natural for everyone to just look beyond the similarities.
And then how do you measure the inclusion success? How do you know you're doing that well?
Well, you're absolutely right. We don't have today a tool, but the only way we could hear people's feedback is through the surveys that we do, because in the surveys, that engagement surveys that we do, diversity and inclusion has been integrated as one of the main factors. So we ask people their views, how they feel about them sharing their differences, or do they feel judged, or so we have integrated that in one of the the engagement surveys, and this is the only way we could at least get a feel of how people feel across the world. And again, it's very different for by regions. So I can give you an example. When Schneider decided that we're going to go for a hybrid approach in terms of working, flexibility at work, and the US team, like people in the US said, why, we're used to flexibility. We want 5 days flexibility. So we should be given own responsibility and accountability to deliver. But then you go to China, because of the different culture and mindset, the China team was like, no, they freaked out and said, how are we giving people flexibility to work 2 days from home? We would rather have everybody in the office. So it's a different perspective you see because of different culture and experiences. But as Schneider, we want to drive people to become more inclusive in their mindset and believe and trust that regardless of people's needs and the way they want to work, it's all about delivery. So even with the trainings, even with getting people's feedback, that feedback would be different and people's need would be different, and they will be vocal about it. So it's
Sarah,
about really finding the balance. Yes.
yeah. So Sarah, this is a wonderful time. Thank you very much for doing this. And I'm really glad that I was able to have Diane on this program and you guys can meet. And hopefully you'll follow up with each other later. And Sarah, I want you to think about coming back again in January or February. And maybe you could bring someone else that you know from another company in Dubai, and we could broaden the conversation. So I very much would like to learn more about you and about your role in as a leader, particularly from the view of I'm an old guy, but the people who are young, all right, they don't want to listen to me. They'd rather listen to you and identify more. Okay. And you're very expressive and very open. We could see that clearly all the way across the world here. So the magic of TV camera here. But so what would you say to the daughters of our audience? All right. There's a lot of moms in our audience who work for companies. And many have daughters, okay? And also guys who have daughters. So make believe that you're talking right now to a mixed audience of teenagers who don't know what they want to do. Yeah, they want to get a job, and yeah, they're learning how to code and do AI and VR and all this stuff. So how would you tell them to prepare for a corporate job in Schneider? Again, you're talking to girls and guys who are about 15, 16 years old.
So I would definitely tell them first, follow their passion, because a job I think that they know this now. The generation that we talk about, or we see that many of them don't want to work in the corporate world. They want to be more in startups with flexibility and all of that. So my message to them is, first, know your passion. It's very important to follow your passion, and don't be afraid to be different. One thing I've mentioned, the first sentence in my book was a quote from Maya Angelou, which said, if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. This is something that really I relate to, and I always try to tell to the next, the young talent who either joins our organization or I meet in these job fairs. So they need to know what their added value is, what their strength is, and how they can use that strength to add value to the organization they work in. So don't compare themselves to others, because each one has a strength. One thing that we always used to do, I have been other than in the corporate world, I've been a young entrepreneur. I've built my own company. I was 20. It started as a passion project in event management. Uh, so because I wanted to try to see what really beats my heart. So let them not try. Don't fear to try new things and fail. And if you want to fail fast, be agile, and move on to the next thing. So that's my message to them. We always dwell on asking ourselves, what are developments? I'm not good in public speaking. I need to, improve my public speaking. I'm not good at, I don't know, my English is not great. I need to improve my English. But we never think, what am I good at and how I can leverage on this? So not only think about your development areas and how you can improve, but also what are your strengths and how you can use those to be unique and different and bring different value to the organization that you work with.
Well, that's brilliant. Diane, would you like to add to that wisdom?
I have a college-age son and a daughter who just graduated, and I would say that's super correct and accurate, that you really do want to find your passion. I feel like I'm still finding mine. So at whatever that age is, and I think that evolves and changes as you go through experiences in life. But I think you were spot on.
Yeah, but Diane, one of the things that do not help us is because we were never pushed earlier in the
Right.
I'm not that young also, but earlier we were thinking how we could build a career and have a sustainable revenue sustainable salary or things like that. We wanted more stability, and we were never pushed to think about passion. I do pottery. I did that mug. And now I feel that, maybe this is something that also inspires me to be creative and put some creativity. So why not? We have to push the next generation to not only be focused on what will bring you a fixed salary at the end of the month, but also how you can use your creativity and innovation, because that will make you grow also professionally and personally.
Right.
So,
Great. All right. Thank you very much for being on Global TV. Diane, thank you for sponsoring, and thank you for your insight and participation here. It has made this a wonderful program, and I think that people around the world are going to want to reach out to you guys and learn from you. And I'm glad that you're on this vehicle. So we're going to end this, and I welcome you back. This is Ed in San Diego, Sarah in Dubai, Diane in Ohio. Americana. Okay. So thanks very much, and goodbye.
thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.